Well. I was going to use these coat hangers as little rabbit ears for this television, but I guess it went back on. Signals these days. Hey. Well, you all know my first episode when I was talking about Alexa Bliss's sister Abigail. Well, I can't blame WWE for basically copywriting me. I probably have forgotten to notice. I respect their decisions that they want to keep their copyright things straight. But as for YouTube, they're going to have to say it to my face. But as for WWE, they don't have to. They don't have to. I probably pushed it a little too far, but I just wanted to start the age up. I wanted to make it hype for all of you. But I will tell you this, I still have the original video on my computer, and it will stay on my computer until the day I die, or if somebody basically removes it somehow. But it is still on my computer nonetheless. It's still there, and I still stand by that Sister Abigail is Alexa Bliss. But let me take off this coat and I'll tell you. It may be a chilling story, but I like to get a little bit of the chills. I normally don't take my coat off for this, but I do have some exceptions. So, I'll tell you. So, toss this aside. As you can see, I tell you, I'm ready for Halloween, as you can see. I'm a Halloween fan, but I'm also a big fan of superstars that have that mysterious factor to them. But I also am a big fan of creepy stuff, too. I was a big fan of Tim Burton's Coraline. I've never read the book yet, but someday I might read this book someday. Also the mysteries, like Lincoln Conspiracies. This one I'm not really done with yet. I'm also into, well, scary or abandoned places, like this book here, which has been dubbed one of my personal favorite books. And it's by Life. I think it's Life magazine or something. I have no idea, but this book is amazing. I'm a big fan of all three of them, and for very good reasons. But today I want to talk about the reasons why I think Alexa Bliss is Sister Abigail. And I'm going to try this again, and then starting tonight, I'm going to be talking about The Raven, which is another Edgar Allan Poe movie starring Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff. But we're not here to talk about that. Let's talk about this. So quite clearly, like I said in my last video, Bray Wyatt was a leader of the Wyatt family. However, he was not the original leader. The original leader once was Sister Abigail, which is a very mysterious woman that, in Bray Wyatt's words, was the savior. Said that basically, like, citizens and basically life everywhere, even people, were like a virus, a threat. So he agreed with her. When she died, under mysterious circumstances, told Wyatt that he was the chosen one since the day he was born. So Wyatt led the Wyatt family, and then, after this whole shenanigans with Randy Orton, baptized himself in Sister Abigail's ashes, which were buried underneath a cabin, pretty much on a floor. That baptism probably took it into effect and created what we know today as The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, and this Firefly Funhouse, which is pretty much, I think, the mind of Sister Abigail. She's making Bray Wyatt into a personal dollhouse. And I think most of those cryptic messages, those sweet, dark, cryptic messages, were from Abigail. And I think that the Fiend was an insurance policy to find another body or a reincarnation of Sister Abigail. And even in that episode again, I had a couple of pictures of Wyatt from, I think, 2017 when he was about to face Finn Balor. But they were both not medically cleared. But also, I also had a picture of Bliss from the horror show when the Either World Bray Wyatt faced Braun Strowman in a swamp fight. And both of those pictures linked very similarly here. The clothing looks right, the stares, the smiles, it looks the same. That's what I think is so scary. And even Abigail says that, Bray, saying that her touch can help, but her kiss can burn things. And I think that's what creates the mind of Bliss becoming Abigail. After Bliss's attack after Nikki Cross lost her matchup against Bayley on, I think, SmackDown, The Fiend pops up. and then attacks Bliss with a mandible claw. And then she started to change after, the whole thing with Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman. She looks different. Clothing looks different. The eyeliners look different. Her skin is probably much paler. And the hair looks different. There's dreadlocks, almost similar to, I say again, the Fiend Bray Wyatt. Very similar, which I think is a change somehow. Sorry about that. The Invisible Man was on my doorstep saying, "Is this the muffler store?" And I said no. Anyhow, like I was saying with Abigail before I was basically brutally interrupted by someone, Invisible Man is a very rude guy. Trust me, sooner or later I will talk about him. The idea of Bliss becoming Abigail with the dreadlocks shows her transformation. Her hair changes have looked different too. However, if I look at the following SmackDown in a fatal four-way match to determine who faces Bayley at Clash of Champions for the women's title on SmackDown, it was basically Nikki Cross, Alexa Bliss, I don't remember the other ones, Tamina, and Lacey Evans. After Nikki Cross sacrifices herself to stop Tamina and Lacey at their tracks, Bliss steps in, probably helping her out. Then sooner or later, the positioning that she puts Nikki Cross in is a Sister Abigail. Same thing happened the following SmackDown with Nikki Cross versus Lacey Evans. And the reasons were because they keep saying the words "The Fiend" to her, which brings her in a trance-like state, causing her to go in and out. However, the following SmackDown after that, where Bliss had to face Lacey Evans, the Fiend's red lighting and creepy music started to come in. And it changed Bliss, putting her in a very agitated state. When I looked at those eyes of Bliss, that was not the Bliss I knew. The two different types. There's two different types here. There was the first one, the asshole, the one that basically was the stubborn one, the kind of manipulative one. And then the other one, which was the one that Nikki Cross knew. That's not the one I knew. This one was way different. That smiling, that foaming in the mouth, that agitated state, something's changed. And that's because of Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt's gloves, as far as I know, say hurt and heal, meaning that he wants to hurt the people who had hurt him in the past to heal the wounds. That's what I think those gloves would mean. Now, quite clearly, Bray Wyatt's gimmick is mostly he has three different personalities. First one being the Either of Worlds Bray Wyatt. We all know the original type. That's where he debuted as. The second one was his Mr. Rogers Bray Wyatt, basically the kind and innocent confused soul. And then the third one was the Where's Wally Bray Wyatt, or the Where's Waldo Bray Wyatt. That's what his three personalities are. It's similar to Mick Foley with Mankind, Cactus Jack, and Dude Love. However, it shows the kind of mental capacity of Mick Foley, but I'm talking about Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt is a very strange person. After I looked at the Kevin Owens show last night, as I said before in my later video that the Kevin Owens show starred Alexa Bliss, Bliss had clearly stated that, well, in the words of Kevin Owens, you've been brainwashed. Bliss says, yes, my brain has been washed. Probably a twist of words, saying that she's been cleansed. Now, when I hear that word, I don't know why, every time I hear that word, it gives me the freaking shivers every time I hear it. As far as I know, Kevin Owens says to Bliss, he's here, isn't he? Bliss starts stating that he's everywhere and that she can hear him, and then she states the words, let him in, which the Fiend has came up to Kevin Owens and mandible clawed him all the way down to the mat. As I saw in basically the picture that I'm going to be posting on there, Bliss smiled while holding the Fiend's hand. And it was a very disturbing part. The mummy says the exact damn thing with the fucking muffler. I am going to scream. Sorry. But yeah, after that comes tonight, as I looked at. Kevin Owens' show on Monday Night Raw starring Bray Wyatt. However, Kevin Owens says that he actually has changed, and that's because of the Fiend's touch. So, pretty much, Kevin Owens is going to be facing the Fiend the following Friday on SmackDown, which is going to be a very bizarre, twisted psyche, in my opinion. I don't know if Bliss is going to be in the corner of the Fiend, because she sits down almost like she rules the Fiend. Because she sits there like a queen on her own throne. It's kind of like what scares me. And then the classic tilts of the heads, which are very classic in Coraline, Bliss does. But that smile into the camera, I'm still thinking, she's Sister Abigail. She's no Harley Quinn. She is no Harley Quinn to some of you think. She's not. If she was a Harley Quinn, well, she'd be doing stuff a Harley Quinn would do. She wouldn't do stuff that I think a Sister Abigail. Sister Abigail is mostly like someone who should be treated with respect. My guess is that somehow, I don't know, but the Fiend's victims are going to be with him. That means Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, Braun Strowman, John Cena, like anybody who has faced the Fiend and has been mandible clawed by him are going to be with him. There's got to be... See, the problem is, I know the puzzle, but I also don't know it. It's a very bizarre mental picture. But I am interested. I am interested in the story than I am with the Hurt Business or Retribution. By the way, if you guys have never seen what happened to Retribution tonight, watch WWE's YouTube channel. I highly recommend it. But also Sami Zayn with the Intercontinental title, which I really hate Sami Zayn. Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman, which obviously it's meh for me. And then the other stuff that's happening. SmackDown Tag Team Championships, and even Bayley and Sasha, which I think were pretty nice. And mostly my personal favorite is NXT. NXT has become one of my personal favorites. So, in my eyes only, Bray Wyatt is literally like not possessed Alexa Bliss to make her do these things, but Sister Abigail is doing it. And I think there's going to be a matchup somehow in the near future where somebody's going to win the matchup, and I'm guessing Nikki Cross, because Nikki Cross knows Alexa Bliss. And then Cross wins, the soul of Abigail disappears back into the abyss that she came from. Bliss is back to normal. And everybody else. Bray is still the Fiend. So, I like to see how the storyline goes along. But if they mess it up, this will be the end of them. And they better retire. And I say that with a straight face. Don't mess this up. So, guys, hope you enjoyed this video, even though there is no clips, no pictures, no nothing, only just the intro. So, enjoy it, have a laugh on it, watch the main event if you want. I'm going to. And then starting up tonight again, probably at midnight or so, I don't know, probably during that time, we're going to be looking at another Edgar Allan Poe story with two of my favorite horror actors of all time.